Okay, so this tutorial we're going to be drawing a car. Now, we're not going to draw from scratch. We're actually going to use some references for that. First of all, again, make sure that your file name has your block up here and your last name. If it doesn't have this, close this file, don't save it, rename it, open it up again. All right, very important that you do that. Now, like I said, we're not going to draw a car from scratch. What we're going to do is we're going to go to our browser, and first of all we're going to find a picture of a car. Now it's very important that we go with the side view of a car, not the front view, not 3/4, but side view. So I'm just going to Google car side view, and here are some images. Now these are all side views. This is the easiest thing to draw. There's of course a very, very simple little one. Your results may vary. There's a nice little sketch. Okay, what we don't want is something like that. That's not really a side view. This is called a 3/4 view. And there's another one down there. That's a 3/4 view. We don't really want that. We want a side view. We're going to draw a car from the side. So you can choose pretty much any one you want. Scroll back up here. Where was that one that I wanted? Well, I've lost it now. Well, I'll take this nice shiny red one. Generic red car. Okay, that one works for me. I'm going to click here on View Image. Alright, so this is Shutterstock. They just have a lot of basic pictures. You can see these are called watermarks that are all over the page. That's okay, we don't need to worry about that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this and select Copy Image. Okay, so that copies that picture to my clipboard, which is in Windows. It's just kind of a temporary storage space. I'm going to switch down here back to AutoCAD. There's my AutoCAD file. Now this is a little bit tricky because I need to paste this in. There's my paste command up there. So paste. All right, now specify insertion point 0, 0. I'm going to pick the lower left-hand corner. And now I need to scale it up. So I'm going to scale this red rectangle about as big as I possibly can to fit into my box. And now, whoa, what's that? Oh, okay, I've got to rotate it. So specify rotation angle. I'm just going to make sure that's more or less horizontal and click. Oh look, I've got my picture of my car right on top there. Now, how are we going to draw this? Well, remember we had lines and polylines and circles. Well, that sure is not a polyline. That is not a line. That's a nice curve. Now, how we can actually draw those curves is a really neat little technique. What we're going to do is go up here and click on the Draw menu. I'm going to pull that down. So here's some more drawing options. This is the one I want in particular. This is called a spline fit. And it's easier to show you what a spline fit does. So I'm going to click on that. And now my cursor is currently white, so it's kind of hard to see against that white background. So maybe I'll just draw it on top of the red. That's okay, I'm going to move it later. I've also got a red drawing color, and that might be hard to see on top of my car. So before I do that, I'm just going to press Escape. I'm going to quit that. I'm going to change this color by going into Layer Properties. So there's my Layer Properties. This is my current layer that I'm drawing on. Right now I'm drawing with a color of red. I'm going to click that and I'm going to choose an index color. Maybe I'll choose blue because the blue will show up nicely on the red and on the white. So I'm going to click on blue. It doesn't really matter what color I choose. And I'm going to click on OK. So now I've got a blue color there. I'm going to close this window. I'm going to go back and I'm going to choose my spline fit. And I'm just going to click and draw some points. And notice as I click and draw points, I'm leaving a little line behind. And that line is actually kind of fitting nicely onto the roof of my car. Now, once I'm done there, I'm going to press enter, and I can zoom in a bit and see, well, my line doesn't quite match. It's pretty close, but it doesn't match. You can also see here's the difference between a bitmap and a vector. The more I zoom in, the blurrier the car picture looks, but the line looks very nice and clean. Okay, how am I going to fit that to my car? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that line and I'm going to edit it. As soon as I click on this line to select it, now I am in spline edit mode. Now, think of this line as kind of a rubber band. And these are my stretch fit points. So I can drag these points up and I can change the shape of my line to match my car. And you know what I'm also going to do while I'm at it is I might want to turn off my object snaps. I might need those later, but I'm going to go down here. I'm going to turn those off for now. So then I'm just going to zoom out, and if I click and hold my center mouse button, I can see there's my line. Bring it back. Okay, and I kind of missed a point right here. I'm going to drag that down a little bit, and I can move it around until my curve fits pretty nicely. Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah. Drag that down a bit. Now, you might be tempted to make a whole bunch of lines or a whole bunch of clicks and have a whole bunch of control points. That's not a good idea. The more control points you have, the more bumpy your line is going to be. The harder it'll be to smooth out. The fewer control points you have, the smoother your line will be, but the less control you have over it. Okay, so I'm going to press escape. Stop editing. Let's see if I can't do the window here. Same thing. I'm going to start right here. And now you can see my cursor kind of, I can see that. My blue line is not very clear. It's hard to see the blue on the black. You know, sometimes your color choice is going to be a little tricky. And I'm going to end it right about there. Press enter. Okay. Zoom in a bit. Go back, click, select my line, and just clean that up a little bit. Bring that in a little closer, bring that in a little closer, and you can see this is a great way of actually making a model by just selecting the lines. Now, I'm not going to get all this fancy, shiny detail in here. There's no way I'm going to get all of that detail. I'm just going to create the basic outline of the car. That's all I really want. Here's a very tight corner here. If I want to put that corner in here, again, I'm going to start with a spline curve. Now, first of all, I want to start right where this line left off. That's where I'm going to turn on my snap points again, and you'll see I'll snap to an endpoint. Now I'm going to turn those off because I don't want to snap anymore. Now, here's where I want to draw my points very close together. If you need a sharp curve, you have to put your points in very close together. If you've got a very broad sweeping curve, you can put your points very, very far apart. And you can see how bending this next point up changes the previous part of the line. And again, I'm just clicking the center mouse button to pan. And you notice my line disappears. It's kind of a little tricky. You got to kind of trust that you've just moved it a little bit. Okay, I'm going to come up to the front of my window here. And if I just snap, and again, I want to snap to that endpoint, so I'm going to turn this on again. Notice also it says F3 at the very bottom. The other thing I can do is I can press the F3 key and that'll turn it on. Snap, press enter to end that point. Okay, notice how it bent up as soon as I press enter. It said, oh, that's your last point, fine, okay. And there's my window right there. And if I click and move it a bit, you can see I've got the outline of my car. Okay. So you can go ahead and you can trace the whole outline of your car. I'm going to show you another neat little command. So on the wheels, now of course easy enough to draw a circle for the wheels, but let's say I don't want to draw it on the center. Another way I can draw a circle for the wheels, so I'm going to click on here and I'm going to click 2 point. So 2 points means I'm going to draw the diameter. So here's my first point up here, and I'm just going to pan up a little bit. Here's my second point right here. And notice I didn't have to pick the center of the circle. That was a lot easier than trying to pick the center. Now that I have a reference circle and I want to make sure all my other circles are the same way, I'm going to turn on my object snaps, make sure I'm snapping to center. So my next circle, I'm going to go back to drawing it center and radius, or I could do center and diameter too. I'll do center radius. Now if I want to snap to the center of this circle, I'm going to move my cursor to the outside. Little counterintuitive. Okay, now I can see the center of my circle right there. I'm going to click, I'm going to drag out, and now here's the outside of my tire, and maybe I want to repeat that, do one more, and I could put some detail in there as well. Now of course, if my front wheel and my back wheel are the same, then what I can do is I can select all of this and I can copy it. So to select everything, I'm going to just, with nothing selected, nothing in my command line, I'm going to click up here, I'm going to drag a window to fill everything in, click down here, and select the copy command from my center point. I'm going to go over here, and now I'm just going to try and position it by eye. That looks pretty good right there. Okay, there's my second wheel. Now, this is kind of neat. This is a neat little tool. Let's say I want to make this pattern on the inside. Now, I could go ahead and I could draw all of the individual parts. But what I'm going to do is this, and I'll work with this little bit right here. I'm just going to make a little circle right here. That is, well, let's go 2 points again. So here's the top, here's the bottom. Okay, and then I'll make the outside circle too. And again, I'll draw a circle center. So I'm going to snap to the center of that, drag it out just a bit. Okay, so just meant to be representative. Now, what I want to do is I want to make copies of these all the way around. I'm going to make 5 different copies. I'm going to use the array command. Now, this is currently set to rectangular array. Rectangular array makes rows and columns of objects. And that's kind of neat if you're making a chessboard. I don't want to make a chessboard. I want to make a polar array. So I'm going to change that to polar array. And we'll just hold over top of this, and you can see what a polar array does is if you know where the center of your array is, you can make an array that goes around in a circle. You can copy an object around in a circle. So I'm going to select array, array polar, select objects. I need to select both these objects, so I'm going to draw a window around them right there. Okay, press enter, I'm done. Center point of array, okay, I'm going to move out to the edge here. There's the center of my circle right there. Okay, alright, now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. I only wanted 5. Oh, look up here. If you notice up here, my top menu ribbon has changed. Let's see. Okay, so I want 5 items. All right. And not quite even, but it's pretty geometric. I don't mind that. That's pretty good. So 72 degrees between them. I'm going 360 degrees around in a circle. Okay, I'm going to close my array, and you can see I've got that there. So I could do the same thing. I could draw out this pattern right here, or this pattern, and I could array it around in a circle, and that would just make my life a lot easier if I'm going to draw that car. Okay, so there's 2 little examples, a couple of extra tools on how to draw things. So I want you to go and find yourself your own car, and you're going to copy that in there, and we're going to see if we can draw a car.